So this is my outline of today's session. So I will discuss what is the academic writing. So every one of you is a student in education theory or any other course. So the first thing before you write, you have to know about what is academic writing. Then I will explain about a characteristic of academic writing. And of course, the thesis versus a research article. What are the differences between thesis and research article? And then we are going to discuss the writing the research article from the thesis, and then how to transform your thesis to research article. What are the characteristics of the research article? And then finally, we will discuss on guideline of the research article publication. Okay. So this is the outline of my talk. Then if you have any question, please leave your comment or your message at the chat box. So then I can address all the question after we finish, after I finish the presentations. All right. So writing the first article, what actually you have to know? I like to start my slide with this. I call it the publication kit. I like to start my talk with this the publication kit, and then as a student or researcher, before you are ready to publish your work, you need to have this attribute. I would say this attribute and knowledge. So the first one is the passion. Okay, before you want to produce the article, I would say it's a quality articles. You need a patience before you start writing. So why? Because if you don't have this, it will demotivate you to write. So I would say that this because when you want to submit the article to the Q1, Q2 or Scopus Index Journal, and then it's being rejected time to time. If you don't have patience, I mean, you will be demotivated with what you are doing. So the first thing before you start writing, you need to have the passion. The passion. Of course, the number two is the research knowledge. The research knowledge. So as a researcher, you must have the knowledge on what you are doing. So the knowledge will help you to write. So the knowledge on your expertise, knowledge on the research methodology, the knowledge on the writing itself, and then the research trend, the knowledge on what the current research trend. So this you must have this before you want to publish. And then the third one is data and finding. Of course, this is very important because without the data we cannot write, and because we do have the material to write, because the data represent your works. Based on the data, you have the analysis and then the findings. So this is actually the important part of your writing of your article. So you must have the data and finding, and the skills. I would say this is the writing skill. I will advise all the students to learn how to write because this will help you to speed up the publication process. Because we don't want you to submit your publication or your manuscript. I would say it's manuscript before it being published. I would say it's not a paper, it's manuscript. Before you submit it to the journal, you need to check it first, and then please avoid too many grammatical error and any others typos. So this is very important. You need to have this kind of skill. And finally, I would say that the effort will boost your motivation in publication. So you must have the effort in order for you to publish a good paper. Then you must have the effort. All right. So what is academic writing? Okay. So we comes into the topic, the very important topic for today's session. What is academic writing? So academic writing is clear, concise, and focused structure and backed up by the evidence. So any academic writing, you must be an evidence to support what you are trying to say in your thesis. Okay, so it's very clear. It's very clear. It's concise, easy to understand, very focused, structured, and backed up by the evidence. Of course, all the information or all the statement in your thesis, you need to support by the evidence. When we talk about evidence, it can be the journal paper, it can be the conference paper, it can be the newspaper or any other evidence that support your academic writing. Okay, academic writing refer to a style of expression that researchers use to define the intellectual boundaries of their discipline and specific area of expertise. So this is, I got it from the University of Leeds and USC Library from 2021. So it's referred to style of expression that researchers use to define. Of course, the important word is the intellectual boundaries of their discipline and specific area of their expertise. So when we are talking about, when you are writing about educational technology, of course, the focus of our writing must be in the area of educational technology, not in the other areas, because this is actually against what the academic writing all about in our research area. So make sure that when you talk about educational e-learning, something like, please do not go in, far from our area. So if education technology, the style of expression that you use, or the word or any other term that you use, is must be related with the educational technology area. So this is what academic writing, the specific area of the expertise. All right. Moving to the next slide. Okay, so what is academic writing? Of course, the second slide, academic writing is clear, concise. I already mentioned this. Structure, focus, and the statement must be supported by the evidences from past research or literature review. Of course, when you write your chapter 1 or your introduction in the article, this is very crucial. This is very crucial because the aim, you want to help the reader to understand your research all about, what your research all about. Because your first chapter, if you are doing master or PhD, your first chapter is very important one, very significant one. So you need to have, sometimes based on my experience, sometimes the examiner, they spend more time reading your chapter 1 because they try to understand what the research is all about, right? So be careful. If I'm the examiner, normally I will read your first chapter, but in this case, is I'm a reviewer of the paper, the paper, the manuscript before you want to submit to any others journal. The introduction of your paper is very important. Okay, what the aim of academic writing is to help reader to understand the research, theory, strategy in depth. So we have the aims in academic writing is help assist the reader to understand the research, the research all about, and then the theory, the strategy in depth. So academic writing has its own style of writing. Suggest all the students to buy the books about academic writing because it's totally they has their own style of writing. It's not like writing in the popular books or any creative writing. No, it's not like that. They have their own style of writing. Yeah? And one of the characteristics is the sentence is not too complicated and not too long and very hard to understand. This is, I found so many people, so many students, when I check their thesis, it's too long. It's too long. I mean, it's very hard to understand and too complicated. That's, I think, why the examiner, when they read your thesis, they feel like, this student, they are not have, patient in writing, as really in academic writing. So make sure that you have, and in academic, you have a concise, clear, and structured statement when you want to do writing. Every sentence, I would say every sentence. All right, next. Okay, characteristic of the academic writing comprise of, the focus of writing is clear and concise, as I mentioned earlier, good structure and easy to understand. It will help you if you produce or you produce a good thesis, then it must have a good structure, and easy to understand, and coherent and consistent. Always consistent what you have done. Not at the first paragraph you say that e-learning, and the third paragraph of your chapter 3, in page 1, your chapter 3, your chapter 2, then it's come into another term. You use online learning. So normally online learning and e-learning is same term. Normally we use it same, but it's not consistent. When you the first paragraph you tell the reader about the e-learning, and then the third one, then you the same meaning, but you use the different word. You use the online learning. So this is actually, please avoid this. Okay, and then coherent and consistent. So this is what I mean by the consistency in writing. So most of the sentences are supported by literature and evidence from well-established sources. So of course, when we talk about well-established sources, it must consist of some resources from journal, proceeding, book, and etc. And then coherent between one topic to another topic, one section to another, and one paragraph to another paragraph. And then the sentence used in academic writing has a value and meaning in the line of with the research area. So when you talk about the sentence use, it has a value and meaning. So you don't just write something that you want to fulfill the requirement of 100,000 words. You know, the thesis, PhD thesis, the requirement is actually it's not minimum requirement. It's not the maximum or minimum requirement, but normally we have around 100,000 words. Then in order for you to fulfill this requirement, then you write so many sentences without any meaning. So it has no value in your academic writing. So be careful with this. Same goes to the paper publication. If you want to write the paper, because normally the paper publication, or you want to write a paper for publication, normally every single word count. Every single word. So meaning that the reviewers will if they don't understand what you are doing, then they will put not a good remarks for you, and then they will reject your paper for publication. So this is very important. So it has a value and in line with your research area in educational technology. Okay, next slide. Okay, clear and focus. What I meant by clear and focus, the academic writing is clear in your area of study. So clear focus in the area. If you are doing research in digital, educational technology, and then as you can see, the educational technology consists of so many different areas in educational technology. We know that the research in education technology can be learning analytics, it can be the design and development, it can be the online learning, it can be the face recognition, and it can be augmented reality or any others technology. So this is very you have to have the very clear focus of your you have to have a clear focus of your paper in academic writing. So if you are doing digital learning analytics, I would say one of the research is learning analytics. You must have a clear focus in the research area of study. For example, in the thesis, the research objective is written in the chapter 1 of the thesis. The aim is to focus on this. So in every paper, normally in every paper, you have the aims, the aim of the paper, aim of study, the aim, the research objective or research question. So this is actually the aim of the research. So every paper that want to submit to the journal, proceeding, or any others platform, then you need to have this aim, the what I call it research objective, or the aim of the research. Clear focus. This is what I mean by the clear focus. Okay, good structure and easy to understand. So I call this is a good structure and easy to understand. It's coherent. And then, for example, every chapter in the thesis is divided into several chapters as follows. So if you have the chapter 1, introduction, about problem background, problem statement, research objective, research question, and theoretical framework. And then you have the chapter 2, the literature review methodology, this one, this is in Malay, sorry. And you have the analysis and finding and discussion and conclusion. So this is what we call it structure writing. So how about in paper? In paper publication, you still need the structure writing. Structured writing means that in your paper, you have the introduction, you have the program background, the research gap, and then of course most of the paper they have their research objective or the research question. Either one. It's not it's not compulsory to have both. You can have only research question. Normally in the paper publication or in your manuscript before you submit to the journal, normally you have to have, I think the research question is enough. The research question is enough because it represents the research objective. And then of course the literature review in maybe in 1 or 2 paragraph for the literature review. And then the methodology, analysis and finding and discussion. So this is actually for the thesis, but it's same goes to the structure in article, in paper article. So you still have this kind of element in it in the paper articles. Okay, so this is the example. I give you the example. Actually, this slide actually is similar that what we had last year. Actually, the good writing. It's about good writing. I delivered this in our colloquium last year, but this is actually the same. Okay, good strategy and easy to understand. Coherent. Every section has continuity. So, problem in online learning. This is the section number 1. You talk about problem in online learning. Then the 1.10 must be the student distress in online learning. So if you have this can be actually related between one section to another. So meaning that you talk about problem in online learning. Then 1.10 the second section is student distress in online learning. It's totally related between the first section. But if you can see the unstructured writing, this common mistake by our, our student normally found in their thesis, you talk about problem in online learning, but in 1.10 is motivating factors. It's nothing to do with the online learning. We know that motivating factor can affect the problem student motivation. It can lead to the problem in online learning. However, this is not related. I can see from here. I found so many mistakes done by the student when they write their chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, because this is not it's unstructured writing. I would say it's unstructured. It's not related each other. So please avoid this. Please avoid this. Don't do this. Okay. But every single, that's why when you are doing your PhD or masters, when it's come to the thesis writing, every single word counts. So this is my advice. Every single word, you are the one that is responsible for every single word being written in your thesis. So make sure that it's easy to understand and easy to you have a good structure of thesis of your writing. Right. Okay, next. So this is another one. Most of the statements are supported by evidence citation from established sources. Most of the statements are supported by literature, evidence from well-established sources. So journal, proceeding, book, and etc. in the particular area. So I'm talking about particular area, especially in our educational technology area. As I mentioned earlier, when you talk about educational technology area, it consists of so many different perspective or area in education technology area. So if you are doing your area in education technology, but in learning analytics, so it must be in the particular. I would say this is the particular area in learning analytics. So you won't talk about any area about augmented reality. No, it's not like that, because that is totally different with the learning analytics. Even though we know that they are from the same umbrella, the same program is educational technology. For example, so this is the evidence. The example of established sources. According to Chi, research on online learning is, then we have the established source, and then we know that Educational Technology and Society is one of the highly reputable journal in our area. So no argument from the examiner or reviewers. If you want to send your paper to the journal, highly reputable journal, they won't argue with you. The reviewer won't argue with you because you know the Education Technology Society is one of the highly reputable journal in our area. Right. Concise and clear. Again, I would like to stress this out from what do you mean by concise and clear? Academic writing focuses on the use of clear sentences and not too complex. Not too complex. I repeat again, it's not too complex, meaning that every sentence must be clearly written and well explained. So, for example, I give you an example. The finding of the study contributes to. So this is actually, you want to say that the finding of the study would lead to what? Contribute to what? So very clear, and we know when you read it, your thesis or your paper, the review read your paper, they know that, oh, this is what the research found from the data collection or from the findings or from the data analysis. Okay? And then according to Ali, 2029, online learning is what? And then blah, blah, blah. So this is actually the wording, the word that you can use in your paper writing or your thesis writing. This present study highlight the effect of online learning platform on student satisfaction in relation to their background and prior experiences. So it's very, I would say it's very bold statement. Okay? And it's concise and everyone can understand this. Not too long, but at the same time, everyone can understand. It's understandable. So this is what we call it concise and clear. Right. Continuity in academic can be divided into several parts. Okay. The first one, when we talk about continuity, it can be the paragraph from one paragraph to another paragraph. So this is number one. Number two is from another sentence to another sentence. So one sentence to another sentence. So sentence A to the sentence B. And continuity from chapter to another chapter. And then continuity from section to another section. So this is for the paper writing. When you talk about the paper writing, continuity must come from one section to another section. But when you talk about the thesis writing, the continuity must come from chapter to another, one chapter to another chapter. Okay, use appropriate word. Beside, nevertheless, however, you want to claim something, but at the same time you want to argue the data or the finding from another researcher. Then you have to use the word that easy to understand. So, however, something like that. You want to argue to this prominent researcher. They said that their finding said something like, in online learning, people get demotivated. They tend to get demotivated during the online learning. However, you want to claim that your research is not like that. However, you use the word however. This is I would say, so please use appropriate word to express your finding, or you want to say something about your research in the writing. Okay. Use clear and concise language. Again, writing must follow the academic writing style. Okay, academic writing style is totally different with creative writing. Is totally popular with any other writing. It's help the reader to understand the message you want to deliver. Because sometimes when you write them, you want to publish a paper, from your research, make sure that the reviewer can understand what you are trying to say, what you are trying to deliver to the audience. Because once the paper get accepted, then it will be published worldwide. So everyone can read, and they have to understand, and if they have problem in understanding your finding or research or any others outcome from your research, then they will contact you. So normally it won't be like that. Sometimes the reviewers found, if the reviewers found that the paper that been submitted to the journal is hard to understand, it's not clear, then they will totally reject it. The rejection is normal for the Q1 Scopus and for the Q1 Q2 publication and the Scopus. So that is normal. So that's why from my first slide, I would say that you need to have the passion in writing something that is if your paper is being rejected 10 times, then you have to have the fighting spirit. I would say the fighting spirit. Fighting spirit. You have to reword or rewrite again, then send to another journal. So this is what we call it, fighting spirit in paper publication. So every time you submit, then got rejected from the examiner, not examiner, from the reviewers, maybe 5 times, and finally for the 6th time or 7th time, then it will be rejected after you address all the comment and suggestion from the previous reviewers. It will help you, and of course we will get the what do you call it, the acceptance after you done all the corrections. Okay, for example, so this is, you use the clear and concise language. One of the important aspect of chemistry teaching is helping students to gain in-depth understanding for a concept that can be mastered through laboratory learning activities. So well-established source, and then of course the use the clear and concise word here. Okay, thesis versus article. Okay, another part of the talk is thesis and articles. So can we publish an article from the master's PhD? Of course, the answer is yes. Yes. Okay, can we publish the paper? I mean, a paper, I would say a paper, before you have the data? The answer is yes or no. Before you have it, at the first 6 months of your study, can you publish a paper? The answer is yes. Yes, you can do that. You can do that based on the literature review. Your literature review, SLR, we have the SLR, Systematic Literature Review. It can be published in Q1 and Q2, and you will get the high citation from this paper. It's highly cited if the review paper can be published. And then it can be done during the first year of your study. It can be done during the first year of your study. So believe me, one of my students have proved it that I think the first year of his study, he published one meta-analysis paper. And the paper got one of the highest citation. I mean, from my list of paper, this paper have highly cited from all over the world. Highly cited from from the researcher all over the world. So this is we call it SLR, Systematic Literature Review. This can be meta-analysis paper. It can be the bibliometric analysis. So it can be done in first year of your study. Yes. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the characteristic of the thesis and what the differences between thesis and article. I'm sorry, this is in Malay, but article is actually the articles. We use the I forgot to change the word. Okay, what are the characteristics of the thesis? It's too long. It's too long. Divided into chapter. Normally the thesis, we divide every single part of the thesis. We call it chapter. Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Or in Malay, we call it bab 1. Bab 1, bab 1, bab 2, bab 3. So this is in Malay, but in English, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. And then table of content, you have the table of content. You couldn't find any paper with the table of content. Am I right? Am I right? If you download the paper, you won't see any table of content as long as. But if you buy the volume of the journal, I mean the books, the printed version, then you can find the table of content. But normally in paper, you don't have any table. I mean the whole structure of the paper, you don't have any table of content. Long literature review. And then thesis guideline must follow the university thesis. If you, most of you are doing PhD in UTM or masters in UTM, then you have to follow the UTM thesis guideline. The final all finding are reported. So normally all the finding that you been gathered, the data being gathered during the data collection will be reported in your thesis. The final assessment is based on the expert academic staff in the same and different institutions. So if you are doing PhD, then you have one internal examiner and one external examiner. So this is actually the expert from the same or different institution. And then for the articles, it's short and concise writing. It's only 8 to 15 pages. Depend on your on the type of article. No chapter. Okay. No chapter. So don't ask your supervisor, don't give to your supervisor to check your first article with the chapter. Don't do that, okay? No table of content. No, literature is too short and concise. And then maybe it consists of maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs for the whole paper. So maybe 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs is enough for the literature review. And then must follow all the format provided by a journal, editorial journal, conference, and etc. So meaning that it must follow the format that if you want to send to the computer education, before you submit to the editorials board, then you have to follow their format first. Otherwise, you will get the desk rejection. I would say it's desk rejection, meaning that because the format is not fulfill the general requirement, then the editor will reject. This is what we call it desk rejection. You don't have to wait 1 year. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 months. Only 2 or 3 minutes, the editor will reject your paper. Then if you send it in the morning, I think in the afternoon you will get the result rejection. So this is what they call it desk rejection. Please try to avoid this. Please try to avoid it because sometimes you need to have the format, the right format, the correct format for the journal. So only selected finding is reported. Maybe if you want to publish in one journal, one paper, you want to produce one paper from your article, you have to have, only 1 or 2 research questions. The finding from research question will be reported. It's reported in your paper. So you don't have to cover all research questions. Assessment based on the reviewers in the field. This is very important. Sometimes they will appoint the expert from this field. In the field, if educational technology, then the reviewers must come from the educational technology background. So assessment based on the reviews in the field. All right. Okay. Article writing from the thesis. What is an article? Okay, I just want to just recap what actually I have been delivered last year about what is an article and how the thesis can be published as a research article, and then what is characteristic of the research articles. Okay. Okay, what is academic article? So this is actually the if you are planning to publish the paper, so you need to know the difference between academic article and the thesis. The academic writing in research can be review. Can be article with empirical data. Empirical data, you have the data, review of this literature, and concept paper. The concept paper normally is about something that you are interested in. So it can be a concept paper because based on your review, it's not review of article, but based on your reading about the online PBL or online problem-based learning, you come up with the concept paper. Then this is what we call it concept paper without any data. Of course, it's totally different with the review of literature. Literature is about the literature. Okay, must undergo a review process from the expert in the particular research area. So you need. So this is where. So remember that thesis and journal paper have two completely different style or plot of academic writing. So it's totally different because when I encourage my student, advise my student to write, normally I have to change their mindset. The first thing I have to change, I will advise them to change their mindset because you have to remember, but we have to remember that a thesis and journal paper are two completely different style and plot of academic writing is totally different. You cannot just, copy paste, just copying and pasting all you have done in your in your thesis, then put it in one article. In maybe just extract what you have done in your thesis, make it maybe in 8 pages. You just copy and paste. So it's not like that because some journal paper is completely two different style of academic writing. So this is one, and then it's meant for different audiences. You make sure that different audiences and different purposes, and the journal have different style and set very different expectation. So make sure that every time you want to submit to the paper you want to submit to the journal, make sure that you have to know about the writing style of the journal. If the journal maybe they are based in a state, United States or USA, then make sure that your English is more like US English. It's not the British English. So it's something like that. So this is actually the journal. Okay, the target audience is totally for the thesis is postgraduate student, undergraduate and academician. But the target audience for the journal is more focused on the practitioner, academician, professional, doctor, engineers, teacher, psychologists, and etc. So this is the target audience. And a type of academic research article, it can be the journal, it can be the journal, non-index journal, it can be a conference, it can be a book chapter and academic books. So this is type of academic research article. So for those who are doing PhD, is a requirement for you to have the Scopus journal, Scopus index journal, paper publishing. You have to publish in Scopus Index journal at least. So this is very important. So I will advise my student to go for the journal first. Then if you want to have, networking, then go to the conference. Because this will help you to submit. Because one of the requirements to submit is publish the paper in the Scopus before you want to submit. Before you want to submit for the Viva. Okay, guideline for article publication, make sure that you get the supervisor approval. Okay, this is very important. Sometimes you make sure you get the supervisor approval before submit the article to any publication. We don't want to have, when your supervisor Google his name or her name, then one publication with you without her or his approval appear in the Google database, in the Google search engine. So we don't want to do this because of course you have to get permission from your supervisor before you want to submit an article. Just say that maybe you can just text or message him or her, mention that I want to publish the article in this journal. Is it okay? Then your supervisor would advise you. Okay, follow the academic writing style. So no grammatical typo. I would say that before you want to submit the article for publication, then proofread your articles. Please proofread your article. Even though I know that some you need to pay for the proofreading services, but this is very important. Sometimes you will get death rejection, even though we know that the paper has a very good high quality paper, but because of the grammatical error, typo in the articles, then the editor will reject your paper. Okay, I use the word in sentence consistently. Online learning, or you want to use e-learning. Sometimes you want to use the e-learning. Make sure that from the first page until the final page of your paper, you use the same or similar word. So this is what I say. Use the word in the sentence consistently. Consistently. Okay, so this is the attendant. Please go to the chat and then record your attendance. Chat, the chat board, and then you can record your attendance. Right. Okay, guideline for article publication. So of course, check the submission guideline. So if you publish in the Scopus Journal or any other journal, then go to the journal website and then read the submission guideline. So if you want to publish in the conference, go to the conference website and check their submission guideline. Writing form must follow the article, submission and a research ethic must be followed and considered. Please, please, because if you want to publish in Q1 or Q2 journal, you must follow the research ethic. The research ethic. Sometimes you have to you need to have different section. I mean, this section you have to upload one form about the research ethic. Sometimes your research is, sometimes our research involves, I mean, student or person or people, then you need to have the ethics. Then you have to fulfill the form. I've been doing this, I think, last 2 or 3 years. When we publish papers in, I think, in Scopus or Web of Science. So they ask you to fill out the form and submit again to them. Right. So this is actually the structure of the thesis. So you have the introduction, you have the literature review, methodology, discussion, and conclusion. Then is the total page is approximately 200 to 300 pages. But article, you have the introduction, you have the literature review, and then you have the research methodology, result and finding, and discussion and conclusion, and finally the acknowledgement. And the total page is around 8 to 15 pages only, depend on the type of articles. But I have experience, send the paper to the Q1 journal is around 26 papers. 26 pages. That's normal. That's normal. 26 to 30 pages. So this is actually an article. Okay, structure of research article. Of course, the introduction, you have the introduction, research problem, the research question, the literature review, the systematic review of the literature, and then the new and updated research methodology, result and finding, discussion, and your acknowledgement. Okay, what are the real challenges in that journal publication? Sometimes spend long time preparing the paper and then end up with the paper rejection. Because you cannot easily publish the Q1, Q2 journal only in one go. One go meaning that you send, then if you are lucky, then the examiner happy, I mean the reviewer happy with your paper, then it's being accepted. But no, it's not like that. But sometimes it will take maybe 2 years, 1 year, or maybe 6 months for you to publish. So this is normal. And then please don't get demotivated. Don't feel demotivated when you want to publish the paper. So spend long time paper and then end up with paper rejection. 1 or 2 years. And then reject, demotivate due to too many rejection. Too tired to submit. Do not master the skill. What I've signed, you don't know about what I've signed. Okay, so when to publish? I would say this is your plan, your timeline. I would say the PhD, the first year you can publish in Scopus paper. By publishing the SLR paper or review paper. Yes, you can do that. Second year, I said Q2 journal, and third year, Q1 journal. For the masters, for the first year, a conference paper, and the second year, you go for the Scopus papers. So this is, I would suggest all the students to do this. But of course, when you get accepted, then actually all your effort paid off. Paid off after long wait, after long pause, waiting for maybe 1 year or 2 years. Then after that, it's being accepted. All your effort paid off. Right. Okay, so this is the publication. I think this is very straightforward. I just want to skip this. What is corpus? I know that everyone know what is corpus. That's very abstract, and then covered nearly 30,000 titles. And you can go to the website www.scopus.com. And this is Web of Science. When we rank the journal, normally when I talk about Q1, Q2, meaning that it's being ranked by the Web of Science, is Q1 is Q2. Q1 is highly reputable journal. For those journal that in Q1 and Q2 group, they are from the highly cited journal. And as I rank this journal into Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So we have the Q2. I have Q3 paper and Q4 paper as well, because it's being ranked by the, and then Q1, Q2. So this is actually the rank by ISI, Web of Science. Impact factor was used in IS to measure the journal impact in Web of Science. So example, if the impact factor is 3.03, it's actually normally you have to check in the database is a Q1 journal in our area, in educational technology area. And this is the website. You can log in this website in campus. And so you can if you want to go to the website, I mean the Web of Science website, you have to go to Easy Process. For those outside the campus, I mean if you are in China, in Nigeria, or any other country, then you have to use the Easy Proxy UTM, Easy Proxy UTM. Then you can log in into our Web of Science. It's being subscribed by the university. Okay, so this is where you can publish the journal. You can have publish in the index journal. You can have the publish in your research. Example for Scopus Index research, and then you can publish the paper to at the conference. And this is edited by me. Thank you.